So, greetings, Chris and Kara, zooming in to us from the Whakatipu Parish, and greetings to any of you who are watching this. This is the second in the series that I'm wanting to do across the diocese, just so that we can understand a little bit more of what is happening in various places in our diocese. And I wanted to connect up with Chris and Kara really early on because they are relatively new to the diocese. And I wanted this to be an opportunity for other people to get to know them a little bit. So, Kara and Chris, to start with, tell us a little bit about you and where you've come from and why you're here.
So we have come most recently from Palmerston North. We've been serving 6 years, 5.5 years prior to that in Miramar Sutu in Strathmore. Prior to that, about 6.5 years in Boston, serving in a parish there. But down here, I grew up in South Otago, and we've been holidaying down in Central Otago for years since we met. It's a bit of a homecoming in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. We're not really strangers coming in, more of a coming home. Yeah.
That's
Mm.
right.
How about for you, Kara?
All the things that you said, with the exception of I didn't grow up in New Zealand. I'm originally from the States, and I first came to New Zealand in 2007 to work with Campus Crusade for Christ and to establish, a team who would have a ministry of evangelism and discipleship to university students. And so that formed me deeply, that experience, and I still desire to see the church in New Zealand deepening their discipleship, their following of Christ, and to grow in sharing that good news with others.
Wonderful. And in recent years, you've been doing quite a lot with families and children.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, I've just actually today finished up a role with the Anglican Diocese of Wellington in their children's and family space as a resourcer.
So you're now in Whakatipu. How is it? What seeds do you see beginning to sprout, and what are you hoping to plant?
So we're very glad to be here. We love the people. We love the place. It's funny, we've been praying for this place for 5 or 6 years. We did not know that that was going to end up with us being here. We've been praying. One of the things when we came on holidays, we go to the playgrounds. We started seeing this massive growth in population, and we're meeting people who are transplants from other places. And there's that isolation, we're having the spiritual conversations, but seeing a massive population growth outside of the historic areas of Queenstown and Arrowtown. And we started asking ourselves questions. Well, what does it mean to make disciples? What does it mean to be faithfully present in the neighborhoods with these people? And what would that look like? And how would that change? So we don't have all those answers to that, but that was
I
a
say
prayer.
that they're big questions. So,
Mm.
how are you beginning to feel your way into that?
Yeah, well, I think the parish and the diocese, I think, took a big step of buying a vicarage in one of these newer neighbourhoods. So Lower Shotover, there's about 7,500 people, and that's going to substantially increase. So that's Queenstown, Arrowtown put together just in this neighbourhood. And so we're living next door to families, being present
Mm.
and just down from the school. So I commend the parish and the diocese for that step of faith. I'll let you jump in.
One of the things that we're seeing, we have a very, very much an open home, and we're blessed in that our immediate neighbors on all sides have children in similar ages to our boys. So most afternoons there would be children from outside of our home coming into it. And just last week, I won't say who it was, but one of our neighbor boys came over and he said, "Oh, Miss Kara, can I bring my friend?" And so he brought a friend. And when he introduced his friend to me, he said, they are wild about God. They just love Jesus. And then proceeded to take him over to like a little prayer station that we had with the children's Bible open, and they started reading it together.
Oh, wow.
And so I think something I'm hopeful for is that while I'm finding some of the school gate ministry to be challenging and really something you have to work at and takes a long time to build relationship, there's a wide openness among the children, and children invite others. And so I'm really thankful to see that starting to happen.
Yeah. Lovely. And you've got a few new families joining the parish as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. See again one beautiful young mum and then bringing her niece and her nephew along and then catching up with a coffee. So another mum's coming along. And so it's just building through those relationships and people are open.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So they're open. Why? This is this pressing question of why is the gospel good news and why are they hungry for it?
Yeah. They're open because it's the work of God and it's God's heart. I'm not telling you anything new, but
Yeah.
this is God's heart, is
Mm.
to love people and to make that love known. And God chooses to use people, us, the church.
Mm.
Why is the gospel good news? Look, I think I love Alistair McIntyre's quote. He says, "You can't answer the question, who am I and what should I do, until you can first answer the question of what story am I a part of?"
Lovely.
If you think about, so everyone is a storyteller, whether someone gets the right to tell, to narrate the story, whether it's an economist, whether it's sport, take your pick. And so the story that most of us grow up with is, if you work really, really hard and you do well at school and you get a good education, you will get a good job and you earn lots of money and you can have a house and you can be successful.
But happily ever
And
after.
that's an empty story. There's not that all of those are bad things, but I think our young people are looking up and that story is proving not to be true. It's falling short. People have worked hard, they're not getting jobs. So our young people's unemployment or underemployment. And so I think in that reality, the emperor's got no clothes. And so
Mm.
there's an openness. Well, is there another story? Is there something that's good and beautiful and true? And of course, there is.
Ah, that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to hear. And Kara, you've started a meditation group or something with some young mothers, is that true?
Yes, that's right. I've started a Ignatian reading of scripture. So we do a bit of practicing some silence and straight after the school drop off. So coming around to the house, practice some silence, do contemplative prayer with breath prayer. And then I lead through Ignatian prayer, reading the scripture 3 times through and asking the Lord to reveal certain things and to give us visions and to use kind of our senses to see. I typically would be wary of that style, but
Yeah.
and growing in my confidence that the Lord speaks to us in that way. And so I'm really trusting that He does have a new work and something new to speak to the community here. Yeah.
Ancient wisdom being revisited for today. Wonderful. Look, thank you both so much. That is just exciting stuff, and it's really lovely to have you as part of our Dawson family. There was a space here if you wanted. Is there anything you wanted to throw at me? Any questions you wanted to throw at me?
Oh, how can we be praying for you?
Ooh. One of the biggest things I wrestled with there's so many things I wrestled with before I took on this role, but one of them was just how dangerous it is to be put in a position of influence. And, as a bishop, you don't have not as much actual power as it might seem, but you do have quite a lot of perceived power. And my prayer is always that whatever I do is going to be using what influence I have to empower other people rather than disempower them. And that's a really hard thing. And so I would always welcome prayer for that. I'll just have the wisdom to be able to do that. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for the invitation.